Town Hall Academy, episode 78.
I'm sending one guy to Whittier, and then I'm sending another guy just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in November. And we just send people to where we can find the best training available.
Plus, you probably pay for the training with that same card, so you get even more miles.
Oh, for sure.
Sending them out there. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Welcome, automotive aftermarketers, to a Remarkable Results Radio Town Hall Academy. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable Results Radio's Town Hall Academy, an educational summit for the forever student. Leonardo da Vinci said, "Learning never exhausts the mind." Now think about that one. And thanks for being here. This is your only weekly aftermarket forum where your panel brings fresh and innovative discussion to inspire your personal growth and development. You are in episode 78, where we discuss low-hanging financial fruit that will improve your bottom line. Carm Capriato here, thanking Jasper Engines and Transmissions for their support of the Town Hall Academy. Performance and reliability, now that's what Jasper's remanufactured diesel engines provide, mile after mile. Their running completed engines are dynamometer tested with horsepower and torque ratings recorded. There's a nationwide warranty included too. The perfect product for your fleet customers. Wow. Talk about dependable service. Are you new to the podcast? Well, you may look at the content library and say, where do I start? Wow, good question. I recommend spending some time on the remarkableresults.biz website. There you'll find ways to filter or focus your area of listening. You can use the tag cloud or the series filter to find just what you're looking for, or type into the search field. There are also special pages just for Academy episodes and a page for the new show called For the Record. You can also see pictures of guests taken at industry events and also read my blogs. Enjoy the Aftermarket's premier podcast. The cost of doing business rises each year. Net profits that are necessary to move your business forward are challenged each day. So it was a great idea to hold a Town Hall Academy on low-hanging financial fruit that will improve your profits. Now, with me on today's panel is Ron Haugen, West Side Auto Pros in Des Moines, Iowa, Andy Bizub, Midwest Performance Cars, Chicago, and BJ Lee, business coach with the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence. Ron, Andy, and BJ have pulled together some great tips for easy implementation that can make a difference in your business and your bottom line. You can find the key talking points, extended bios on my panel, and links to their previous episodes at remarkableresults.biz/A078. So that our industry rises by lifting others, tell a friend about the power and the value of the podcast. Hey, listen at the end as BJ and Andy tell their view on how the podcast can have a positive influence on you, your career, and your business. Now listen and prepare for some great ideas on tapping in on low-hanging financial fruit. And we're here to talk about low-hanging financial fruit. And I want to offer this up into a couple of segments. It will go all over the board, but I think we can find opportunities to improve our profits. You know, there's three things that make profits, right? Managing your costs, managing your sales, managing your margin, and of course, you end up with a net profit. So we're going to talk about a lot of those different areas, plus team engagement and maybe even some time management. And I want to go to you first, Ron. You said you believe that inspections are low-hanging fruit.
Absolutely. It's widely been adopted or taught as the 300% rule. And what 300% is that you inspect every car, present the results to every customer every time. And if you inspect 100% of the cars, estimate and present 100% of the findings 100% of the time, that's your low-hanging fruit. You're going to find what's there. You know, a car might come in for a coolant leak and it needs ball joints. And it's not up to us to judge what the car needs or what the customer should do or whether or not they should fix it. That's the customer's decision. It's our ethical and moral responsibility to tell them what that car needs every time that it's in. And basically, we give them enough information that they can decide what's best for them at that time.
Ron, let me stop and ask a question. Are you talking about paper inspections or the new digital vehicle inspections?
Either. I mean, here we use the digital inspections, but if you don't have that technology or haven't invested in it, certainly a paper inspection's fine. But you've got to have some kind of an inspection, and then the advisor has to take the technician's findings, convert it to an estimate, and present it to the customer, because people don't know what their car needs. And oftentimes we can be quick to judge. We might have Mrs. Jones bring her car in, and we're like, well, she never leaves town. She only drives to the grocery store and to church, and she's always driving around town. She's in for this belt and an oil change. So, the ball joints aren't that loose. We're not going to worry about that. What we don't know is that she's planning to drive 800 miles that weekend because she's going out of town to visit family. So, if it needs it, it needs it. And it's our duty to let them know. And if you embrace that 300% rule, you're going to see more than the low-hanging fruit coming in, because you're going to find the stuff the car needs, and you're going to present it to the customer and give them a safe, reliable vehicle.
You guys agree to Ron that inspection? I mean, this could be the number one big takeaway here.
I wholeheartedly agree. It is our obligation, our professional responsibility to look these vehicles over and present that information to that client so they can make the informed decision on what to do, right? I mean, that's our job to do that. And if we're not doing that, we're just hurting the industry, we're hurting the clients and stuff, and we're not taking care of business.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we use the digital inspections. Not only are they a great sales tool, but they're when the techs get used to them, they're much more efficient for us than the paper. And as I was listening to Ron describe, the inspection and the reason for it, I really thought of it in terms of going to the doctor. These people are bringing their car to the physician who's going to check out their car. You go to the doctor doesn't say, well, you're not a professional athlete, so you're not going to really need those knees to work correctly. He tells you everything that's going on with all the systems, and then you make the decision about what you're going to do.
Guys, does an inspection, a thorough inspection, the 300 rule, Ron, does this go deep into trust and retention?
Oh, I think absolutely. People show that you care, or you're showing people that you care enough to let them know what's going on with their vehicle. I mean, not everybody's probably going to appreciate it. Some people, don't want to know what's wrong with their car. They'd rather just drive around in the dark, but that's not your customer. So, it does create trust because you're showing them that you took the time to look their vehicle over, explain to them what deficiencies you found, and you go back to what it is, what it does, and what'll happen if you don't fix it. And at that point, I mean, it's their decision. The choice is on them. But it makes you professional. It sets you apart from the people that aren't doing this.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. BJ, we put a lot of parts on cars that sometimes we don't charge for, and we may find an opportunity there.
Yeah, a couple of things that I have in mind here at my shop is we went into, we're talking years ago when a customer comes in for, say, it could be anything. Maybe they came in just for just a quick minor repair or something, right? And we have the hood open. It was our job to top off the fluids and make sure that at least when the car leaves, everything's topped off. But, what'll happen is the technician may grab a quart of coolant, they'll add a quart of coolant in, they don't say nothing, but, we just topped it off. So we build out coolant by the quart, other fluids by the pint if we used it, and we build it out. Instead of giving it away, we did charge for it, and rightly so, right? And we made sure that their vehicles were in good condition when they left and that the levels were where they should be. So many times I've seen guys just top stuff off and not charge for it. And, if you add that up over the length of a year, you're talking a lot of dollars. And then also you've got small parts, that we're giving away a lot of times. I see a lot of shops that will just bill out, say, shop supplies, which we can't do in the state of California. We can't do it that way. But so itemizing everything. I think even if you have a shop supply on your invoice that's so you're out of the state of California, rightly so. But I believe in itemizing everything, anything from cotter pins to connectors to nuts and bolts, whatever. For me as a consumer, I think that I would rather see something itemized that makes more sense rather than grouped together with a number. Right, $40 or $30 worth of shop supplies. What does that mean? I think you get too many questions when it comes to that.
Love it. Hey, how many times do we sit in the passenger vehicle, look in the rearview mirror, and miss the fact that there's a blade back on the rear window? And back in the day, back in my day, I built a great survey on the forgotten filter, and we talked about the cabin air filter. And we talked about basically just, it's so simple to do a chart and say if we checked every one of them, even if we sold 10% of them, it was like hundreds. No, it wasn't hundreds. It was thousands of dollars that would end up being net profit because the margins were so good on them. Guys, do you have in your shops, a philosophy on making sure we're looking at those forgotten parts?
Well, I think that's part of the inspection process, and we have to audit that inspection process to be sure that we're following the proper procedures and make sure that it's getting checked out. What we do is once a week we grab tickets and we go through them, look at the inspection forms and so forth to make sure that they look like they make sense, right? You see a vehicle that's 10 years old, it's got 150,000 miles on it and everything's in the green, probably not accurate, right? Unless it has just been in there and they just spent gobs of money on it. So, auditing it, be sure everybody's following the procedures and keeping everybody in line, I think is very important.
Carm Capriato here with Ron Haugen of Westside Auto Pros. Ron, are Jasper product improvements important when deciding to buy your next engine or transmission?
Oh, absolutely. Not only important for me, because I know that I'm going to put a product in a vehicle that's going to last, but they're important for my customer. My customer's already got an engine that's failed, maybe because a component was under-engineered, and Jasper's gone in and found that and fixed that. And if somebody's committing to the kind of investment to put an engine in their vehicle, they're going to want the best one they can get.
Hey, Ron, what could you tell me about Jasper's customer service?
Jasper's customer service is above and beyond pretty much any of the vendors' customer service that we use. There's been times that I've often thought we need to hire whoever trains Jasper's staff to come train my staff. I mean, from the initial phone call to if there's a warranty problem, a question, a technical issue, they answer the phone and you're immediately talking to the person that can help you.
Hey, Ron, thanks for your insights on Jasper.
Thanks for asking.
So, Ron, in the inspection process, are we actually looking at every cabin air filter?
It's on our digital inspection checklist, and they follow it through and they check it. If it's failed, we take a picture. We make it, as Andy had mentioned, I mean, that's a great sales tool. But, certainly if you don't have digital inspection, you should be doing a paper one, but hold people accountable. I mean, you can do re-inspects on cars. You can have your shop foreman pull 1 or 2 cars in a week and re-inspect it, see if they come up with the same results. The other thing is turn it into a game, make it fun. One thing that we do is there's an inexpensive program out there that you can buy and basically make your own scratch-off tickets, kind of like lottery tickets. And so we'll print those and they can be for $1 or a free pop or a candy bar or whatever makes it fun. And then each month pick a featured service. So if it looks like you're not selling enough wiper blades or not selling enough cabin air filters, make those a featured service. So for each one that's discovered and sold, then the advisor who sold it gets a scratch off ticket. The technician gets a scratch off ticket. And so make work fun. And just give them a little spiff, a little incentive to focus on those items. And then once you've done that for a couple of months, then it's time to move on to the next thing. And that works really well.
Yeah, one of the things that we did with the inspections was we mandated a rule that every digital inspection had to have 10 photographs. So a minimum of 10. So 4 are taken up with taking the 4 corners of the exterior of the car, which covers us in case anybody's ever like, oh, there's a scratch or that wasn't there. We have the pictures right when the car came in. But then they very quickly just found that they could easily hit 10 by taking those first 4 and then taking the rest of the systems of the car. Some of our inspections have 15, 20 photographs on them. And these guys, and really the cabin air filter, that's for my guys really want to inspect all of that kind of stuff because replacing a cabin air filter is a great part of their ticket. It's a heck of a lot easier than replacing a control arm.
All right. I agree with that. I agree with Ron. I mean, I think it's so important that we have fun. If we're not having fun, we spend more time in the shop than we do in our own homes. Let's have fun.
Well, and also back to what you said, Andy, if you pull the cabin air filter and it looks great or it's relatively new, take a picture of it. Let's tell people what's good on their car too. Don't just give them a list of what it needs.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, Ron. I was looking at some chatter, Andy, and I didn't hear every word you said. And I don't, if I'm repeating this, stop me. But I have a friend who has an incentive for the number of pictures that are uploaded.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to do it.
And they're basically saying that per car he's got an average, and if he doesn't see that, they didn't meet muster. And I guess there's some kind of incentive for the guys to stay at a level. Sure. One car equals so many pictures at the end of the month. That's what he wants to see.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess a picture of something good really builds history, doesn't it?
And trust and rapport.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to be the good guys too.
I'm thrilled about this. And then we're in air conditioning season. I don't know about you guys. Is it hot in Des Moines?
Oh, yeah. We get 90, 96 degrees, and we have humidity, which makes it feel even hotter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I know what humidity's by. We're right next to Lake Erie. Boy, talk about humidity. So is there any air conditioning ideas to grow your top line?
I'll tell you one thing I did at our shop. I bought this shop. It was my second location. And so when I bought this shop, I went through some of the old inventory and stuff that they had there. And back behind a bunch of boxes in storage, there was cases of this AC system deodorizer, right? It came in the little bottles, and you put it down through the vent and, pull it through or whatever. And it was there. I don't even know how old it was. It just, I thought, what is this to? How come nobody uses this? And this place was in the desert. I mean, and so I took this stuff out of here, and we started promoting these AC vent deodorizers and stuff, and it was amazing. I sold every bottle of this stuff, that I had to order more. And this company that was on this bottle, I didn't even know where to get it. I tried to find it, so
was it Aircept?
No, it wasn't. I can't remember the name of it. It came in a white bottle with blue writing on it, plastic bottle, and it was just awesome. And there was guys that worked at this company before I bought it and stuff. So I said, hey, why is this here? How come this hasn't ever been used or sold? I don't know. I said, well, let's get rid of it. Let's use it, And so first, I didn't know how long it had been there. So I did it in my vehicle first because I wanted to make sure it didn't stink, and make sure it was still good, So I did that, and it was amazing. I mean, you're doing a $39 deodorizer, and pretty much the inventory didn't cost me anything. So, and it wasn't that expensive to buy this stuff anyway, but it was awesome. It was great to just to see what we could do with it. And it turned out that it was very, very profitable. And that's such a simple thing to do.
A great tip, BJ, especially at this time of the year. Ron, we can grow our top line with a good customer retention program. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. We spend all this money attracting new customers, and we don't do as much trying to retain the existing customers. And that's actually that's your core, that's your base. Those are the people that already know, love, and trust you. And so, to put it in financial terms, everybody has a need to come to your shop, whether it's another car, the car they have, they're kind of delaying. So, let's say you've got 3,000 customers in your database and you've got a good retention program, and you get a third of those to come in one more time. That's 1,000 customers. And let's say your average RO is $300, which is probably low, but let's just say it's $300. Take 300 times 1,000 customers. That's a big number.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have to market to somebody 6 or 7 times to get them to love us and come give us a try. We didn't have to offer them a low-cost oil change or anything discounted. We're just simply keeping our name and face out in front of them. And, a great example is the other evening, my girlfriend and I went out to eat. We went to this restaurant that we went to like a year ago, and it was phenomenal. It was great. We haven't been there in a year. And the reason we haven't been there in a year is they don't advertise. They're not at the top of my mind when it's time to go out and eat. Mm-hmm. They don't market to me. I don't get email specials from them. You just somehow think to go there. We're in the same way. We can lose people when it comes time. We all have customers that cheat on us. Maybe go to another place for an oil change. We're not keeping in front of them. So retention is probably the easiest way to build your business. Just do more for the people you already have.
Let's tear that apart a little bit. Let's get into some of the how. Tell me, is it Facebook? Is it email? Is it postcards? What do you recommend?
Yes.
Oh,
all of the above. You want to be in front of them so they remember you. So, certainly, the Facebook, and you got to remember on Facebook, it's social media. It's not sales media.
Yeah.
Don't go on there and tell them you can buy 3 and get 1 free strut. They don't want to hear it, but keep in front of them. Email is probably the least expensive And one of the more effective ways, if it's properly written and put together, I mean, you can see 15, 20% open rate on that, which is huge. And then, of course, the postcards, maintenance reminders, email reminders, hey, it's time for an oil change. And then let's not forget the decline services. You've got somebody in today that needs a CV boot and a pair of struts, and they decline it today. That doesn't mean they're going to decline it next month or the following month. We have to have a process in place to contact them and remind them, hey, last time you were in, you needed this. Maybe it was a financial reason. Maybe they have money now to do it, whatever the situation. But that's work. All you have to do is bring it back in the shop. It's there to do.
So you're really managing really hard declined work, social media, email. I mean, Ron, is this the job you do inside the company?
That is what I do here. Yeah, it's all part of the marketing. Absolutely. And I think somebody internal needs to at least oversee it, if not actually do it, just to make sure it's effective and it's working. You've got to track everything you do. You might come up with a way to do this, but if you're not tracking it, it could become ineffective.
Yeah, we work on that. When we take on a client that is struggling on car count or something like that, one of the first things we do is mine their data, the customer base, and especially if they're tight on cash, because they've been struggling for a while or something. Hey, let's go after the people that have already been here. They haven't been here. Let's send them a letter and say, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. Is this something we did? What can we do? And some sort of a letter or email or whatever, or both, like you said, to get them back in there. And so many times, more times than not, do we get people coming in the door and increasing that car count, just getting those lost customers back in. It's a definitely an inexpensive way to get them back.
Thanks, BJ. I just want to make a compliment. Every time Ron comes on the show, I think I actually say this. I love his social media. I follow your company, Westside Auto Pros, and you just do a marvelous job, never selling, but just having fun with the audience.
Well, thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
Love how he does that. Andy.
So about that last topic, one really easy thing that my guys do is as soon as a customer checks out, we use a Google Calendar for scheduling all of our appointments. So they immediately go 5 months out from that date, and they give themselves a reminder to call and or email the customer to remind them about a 6-month appointment.
And what's really cool about Google? You're creating the invite, the reminder, and you just click and add the customer's email to it,
right? And
send it to them.
Yeah, it takes them less than a minute to do, and they're covered 5 months automatically. Boom, there it is. So.
Well, good for you. Hey, let's talk about a little bit about costs right now and managing costs. Andy, you've got a ton of great ideas on managing costs. Credit cards was one of them?
Yeah. So what I do is even if you have the cash to pay for all of your parts up front, very few vendors give you a break for paying cash or wire transfer a check. They just want the money. They want it right away. Worldpac is one of our biggest suppliers. So I talked to them and they said, we'll take a credit card. That's fine. No discount for anything else. So I said, okay. So I rotate. First of all, I bundled all of our Worldpac parts charges into a monthly bill. So I just get tagged once a month with a larger number. I rotate through several credit cards that have the best benefits. I happen to use travel benefits a lot. And when a really big number hits, a lot of these cards will give you double and triple points. So between the Amex Platinum card, which gives me great travel benefits and also gives me access to all kinds of airport lounges all over the world, and the Southwest Visa card, which my wife has a companion pass for 3 years now, so she flies for free whenever she flies with me, and Capital One, I've built up almost a million points of travel benefits. So I can use that to send my technicians out to training. I can book free airline tickets. I very rarely ever pay for travel for myself. I have 2 kids in college, so I'm always flying them back and forth from college for free on benefit. And the IRS already ruled that benefit points are tax-free. So it's really a way to actually gain completely tax-free income at absolutely no expense to the shop. So that's just, I'm always amazed by how many people you can really maximize those credit card benefits by running your shop basically on those credit cards.
You know what I love about his angle here? The training angle about sending text to training.
Yeah. I'm sending one guy to Whittier, and then I'm sending another guy just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in November. And we just send people to where we can find the best training available.
Plus, you probably pay for the training with that same card, so you get even more miles.
Oh, for sure.
Sending them out there. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Great idea. So, Andy, you also have an idea about lowering your payroll tax.
Right. So one of the things that we do for our techs is if they want to buy a tool, we'll front them the purchase. We'll buy the tool. And then let's say it's a $500 tool. We'll say you can pay $50 a week over 10 weeks. And what we do is instead of doing a deduction of money that we've already paid them, let's say a technician is being paid, just for ease, is being paid $25 an hour. He works a 40-hour week. We'll pay him for 38 hours. So he gets to actually pay for those tools with tax-free money. He never pays income tax on that money because he never even gets it. Instead of deducting money that we pay and then hits our payroll tax, hits our workers' comp, we just take the hours off and take it that way. It works out better for everybody. It's a small savings for us, but it's a great benefit for our technicians. So, my one technician just bought a $3,000 cabinet to put on the side of his toolbox, and he probably would have never bought that cabinet if we didn't have this program in place for him.
He's trading hours for tools.
For sure. It's like a barter system, and it's a win-win-win right across the board.
What's the IRS say about the triple win?
Well, you're bartering, so that it's not even, it never becomes income. So you've paid for it up front. We're not writing off the tool as if we bought it. We're just buying the tool, and then we're just giving him basically an interest-free time to pay off. So we're not taking any kind of a deduction for the tool, but he gets to pay for it with money before he has to pay taxes on the money. So it's a barter system. He never even gets the income.
Your views, guys, on that?
I like the idea. I'm sure Andy has done this. I would just advise anyone that's going to do that to certainly talk with their tax professional.
Yeah.
Make sure that everybody's comfortable with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's all recorded. We have records of everything. And my bookkeeper, she just takes care of all the payroll and all the hours and billing and everything. So
that's awesome.
Your comp fees would go down too.
Right. Because you're not paying, you end up, by a small, if a guy makes $70,000 and he pays off $3,000 in tools, he actually only makes $67,000.
And I guess the other benefit for the tech is he's not paying, he doesn't have this long-term tab on the tool truck.
For sure.
There's interest there that you just don't even see, but it's there.
Yeah.
You might be able to negotiate a better price on the tool because the tool truck guy's getting paid for it
right away.
He's not waiting 10 or 15 weeks to get it.
Yeah.
Or longer.
It works out better for everybody, really.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember years ago we used to use, there was some kind of a tool. I can't remember what it was now, but there was something to do with tools that we did at pre-tax dollars. I don't know if you remember that going around back in the day. It's been quite a while since we did that. It worked for a while and then kind of fizzled out. So a lot of guys were just uncomfortable with it.
It was a tool reimbursement program.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. And we used to do that too. And then I think some tax laws or something changed and those companies kind of went away.
Yeah. We're showing our age now, Ron.
I love all the research you've done, Andy. It's working for your company. But Ron said, please check with your accountant or your tax professional to be sure that this is going to work and it's right in your state. It's amazing how every one of our states has something, a different slant on things, and then there's the mother up top, the IRS. BJ, you've got a great idea on saving money on parts washer.
I can remember this was back in 2000, 2002, something like that. I had bought a jet spray washer, and back in the day, you had Safety Clean, and they came in every month or 3 months or whatever you had set up with them, and I just hated using their service. It just wasn't good. They didn't show up. They didn't do a good job. It just seemed like I was always writing them a check And I bought a Clean Tech machine, which was a jet spray aqua washer. And that was the best thing since sliced bread. I bought this thing, I think back then for $3,500. I could put everything in it, all the parts in it. It cleaned the parts well. Drain pans you could clean tools in it and everything. And there was some kind of an investment analysis I had done back in the day when I did that. And it saved us thousands just in lost billable hours throughout the year with your technicians when they're sitting there scraping and cleaning and doing all that. They could be working on cars. Well, that jet spray washer is cleaning. So it's just a huge money saver for sure.
That's a great idea. I love things where you can get rid of the monthly or quarterly payment. You can just buy it and be done with it.
No, it seemed like I was on a quarterly service, and it seemed like they were there every month. It seemed like I was always writing them a check, and I was like, "Oh God!"
Yeah.
That's one of those painful checks that everybody that is done. I mean, nobody likes writing that. It's like paying property tax.
Right.
We did a similar thing about 6 months ago, and it's worked out really, really well. We were paying $333 a quarter for Safety Clean. We changed our parts washer to a product called a Smart Washer. It's a biodegradable microbe-based parts washer. And not only is it non-toxic, but the solvent never has to be changed. It's not solvent. And the guys can get it on their hands. It doesn't eat their hands up. It was $1,600. So it takes us just over a year to pay for the thing. And it's better for the techs. They love the job it does. It actually does a better job than solvent-based parts washers. So I'm totally on board with that. We look for all the green stuff that we can do, and this was like super green.
Great tip, guys. Thank you very much. Guys, this has been great so far. Let's jump into a couple of more things. Ron, you talked about, you'd love to talk about employee incentives as an opportunity for low-hanging financial fruit.
Just put a standing reward into something. Two things that are oftentimes overlooked in a mechanical repair shop that are easy to do. It's easy business to get into. Certainly the headlight restorations, the headlight polishing. And then the other thing is windshield repair. I mean, that is a very easy talent to learn and do. And so what we do is we'll have an incentive on windshield repair where, it's X amount of dollars to the person that finds it, X amount of dollars to the guy that sells it, and X amount of dollars to the person that actually performs it. Because the gross profit on a windshield repair is phenomenal. And it's an easy sell because it's something people often don't think about when their car's at your place. So, you call them up after doing the oil change and you tell them the good stuff on their car, maybe tell them the one or two services they need, and then say, hey, by the way, we noticed when we pulled your car in, you've got a chip or you've got a couple of chips in the windshield. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's right. I've been meaning to go to the glass shop and get those fixed. It's like, we can just take care of it while it's here. And sell them the windshield repair. Sometimes insurance companies will pay for it. They'll waive the deductible. It's really easy to get hooked up with them and get on their list as an approved vendor. But, put an incentive in. It's one thing to buy the kit, get trained up and get into that business. But then you've got to give your employees a reason to change their habit, to start looking for the windshield repairs and start recommending. You got to give the advisors a reason to sell them. And so if you put an incentive or a reward in there and make it top of mind awareness, talk about it each day, talk about it at the company meeting and stuff, before you know it, I mean, we do windshield repairs every day of the week.
I love that. That's awesome. I haven't heard that one about the windshield repair. That's pretty good. It's funny because when I was 18, 19 years old, I did windshield repair back in the day. I did that along with, I don't know if you remember the used car dealer. They had a guy that did the ground white walls into the tires. Oh. So
you are dating yourself there.
I am, and it's crazy. I think about that and think, wow, it was such a simple thing and so easy to do.
Yeah. We trained our shuttle car drivers to do it. And that way you're not even tying up a technician for doing it.
I love that.
Yeah. We have a similar. If you ever heard of Aquapel. Yeah, we added Aquapel as a service. I mean, great margin. We buy them in bulk from Amazon, and we train the porters to do the windshields with the Aquapel, and people love it.
I think the greatest point that came out of here, Ron, was the change of habit. Just because you added the new service and for years you've never done it, in order to break in, I love the incentive idea, but at the same time we added a new menu item and we need to be sure we sell it.
Absolutely.
Great point.
Absolutely. Get everybody on board.
Yeah.
Incentivizing and training. That's what it's all about. Years ago, you got tell a mechanic he had to polish some headlights. He's like, what? That's not mechanic work, right?
Tell them they had to grind white walls.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh,
it
my.
wasn't grinding the white walls. It was lifting the machine out of the truck that killed me.
Oh, my. Oh, see, you're all dating yourselves. Stop it. Hey, good stuff. Andy.
Yeah.
I love this talking point about association memberships.
Yeah. So it's funny because this just happened at the beginning of the year. Our ASA membership came up for renewal and the fee really went up. So a couple $100 for us. And so I said to my bookkeeper, who is also my sister and is very frugal, I said, is it worth it to re-up with ASA? And she said, well, you can drop it. It'll save you $500 a year, but it's going to cost you $2,000 a year for all the discounts that we get through ASA. I mean, just our ADP payroll through ASA, we get about an $80 a month discount. So there's $1,000 right there. So you lose sight of it. You see the bill come, but by belonging to these key and really beneficial associations, it really does save you a lot of money. And there's great other benefits to be had, but the financial benefit is right there.
Isn't that cool to think about, guys?
Yeah,
well, I think one of the things to keep in mind too, Carm, is we all belong to these associations. Take time to learn the benefits that are there and actually use them. We redid a uniform contract about a year ago, and in talking to the rep, he said, what all do you belong to? And of course, it's AAA and ASA and Auto Care Center and all this stuff. And he goes, give me a list. He goes, I'll go back and find out which one gives you the greatest discount.
That's great.
So it's knowing what's in there and what's available and actually using it, not just being a part of it.
Yeah, instead of just writing the check and forgetting about it, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. There's people that you talk to that are members of the Chamber of Commerce and they don't get involved with the chamber. They just write the check. You get out of it what you put into it.
Exactly.
I am such a big advocate for associations, guys. I just truly, truly am. And when you think about the networking, I mean, let's put that the big umbrella. If you invest your time and you get involved in networking, there's no price. It's priceless. And then you bring up the word of training. Associations are all about bringing training to people. And then there's the discounts that bring the value as far as the monetary side to it. So for people that aren't involved in an association, I guess I wonder why. Please go to my website, type in the word association, type in, ASA, type in Vision ASA Midwest, all that. And we've done some great podcasts on the value of associations. This was a very interesting, very succinct, very tight, very focused podcast episode. I loved where we went. Any final thoughts from any of you guys that have come to mind that you'd love to share?
I would say, watch these podcasts. I think these podcasts are so entertaining. They're so educational. I think there's so much to be learned. There's nobody that knows everything. But when you look at how many episodes that you have, and I listen to these episodes, and no matter what you do out there, listen to these things. Get up in the morning, have your coffee, and that's what I'll do. I'll sit there, have a cup of coffee, and I'll listen through the podcast and stuff. And there's just so much. I mean, just on this right here, and this is what we do every day. There's things that you get, oh yeah, you got to have that oh yeah moment, right? And say, I'm going to do that today. I'm going to check into that, and every week, there's something that you can take away from this and put that into work, and it's going to help you to be successful.
My day's complete. Thank you, BJ. I am going to go find a happy hour place right now.
Yeah, I truly mean it.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
It was 400 of them out there, more than 400 episodes. People will look at their listening app on their phone and they'll go through and they go, oh my God. But if you go to my website and you look at the series that we've created and the tag cloud that helps you narrow your focus, you can say, wow, that looks like a cool episode. I know that guy. I know that's a great topic, and write them down, and then go out to your mobile device, find find that right episode that you want, and then consume it, and then listen. But thank you so much for that. Andy, anything final?
Yeah. It's amazing. These are like 40-minute 20 groups that you didn't have to catch a plane. You didn't have to stay in a hotel. And they're very focused. And I always love interacting with other people in the industry because I don't need to recreate the wheel. It's been invented, and I just want the best ideas from everybody else. And I'm happy to give all my ideas. So these are so beneficial. They're like you said, they're tight, they're focused. You get a lot out of it, and then you can put it into action today.
Wow, thank you again. Well, that's 2 happy hours I have to find today. Wow, Ron, anything?
Get involved. It's that simple. I mean, don't sit around and wait for it to come to you, but get involved in different stuff in the industry. I mean, I met Andy. We're both on the Ratchet and Wrench advisory board, and I met him through that. And those phone calls and that interaction, you create a friendship, and you learn people's strengths and weaknesses, and you can reach out and help them, or they can help you. You can reach out if you need help, whether it's through an industry association or going to trade shows. But get out and mingle with other people in this industry, because there's people out there a lot smarter than me, and some of my best ideas I have stolen from other people or leaned on. Like, hey, I know you did this, you talked about this. Give me some details. Tell me about it. But get out there and get involved and interact with people just like you. We're colleagues. We're not competitors.
Hey, guys, you've all been on the show. Just go out and search their names. Ron Haugen, Westside Auto Pros, Andy Bizub from Midwest Performance Cars, and BJ Lee, business coach at Institute for Automotive Business Excellence. They've got great shows on their very own with me, have participated in a lot of stuff, and I sure do appreciate your confidence in coming on and sharing your ideas. And Ron, here, way back in the day, Ron came on in the early days, maybe 3 years ago, never afraid to say, yeah, I stole this from Plimmer and I got this information from him. And you were a pillar of our industry to say that, network and pull in the great ideas and then make them your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, enjoy another great summer weekend. See ya. Bye.
Thanks, Carm.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Carm.
Have a nice day, everybody.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time,